Even be a little bit faster than that again, considering the distance there just in about 5 minutes. So there's the last one, and we're seeing that couple now north of Youngsville. So in the community where Beaver Ridge Drive is, and Dreamcatcher Triangle and Remington Court, this is a community. So if you live in these areas, we do have that rotation over you as we speak. Now, if we look at our local live radar, it's the very tail end of where we're seeing the heavy rain now. That's where we're potentially seeing rotation in this vicinity right here. So it's north of Youngsville's actually in the clear at this point. Even though you're under the warning, that rotation is north of you and moving away quickly. So as it is moving to the north, we will go just north of where that rotation is, and basically around Highway 1 up towards Franklinton across 56. So these are areas that want to be on the alert right now. If you live around Howard Harris Road, East College Street, let's see, that's Chatham Street, North Chatham Street. These are areas that you want to be on the lookout now, because that's where this potential tornado, again, we say potential because we're just Doppler indicated seeing some rotation. That is where it is indeed moving at this time. And that couple is not looking as impressive, and likely the next scan or two, as we've been seeing with all of these this morning, they ramp up quickly and then they ramp down fairly quickly. And that's likely what we'll see with this. And the other concern that we were seeing earlier is, are we going to add to the instability? And what the easiest way to do that is to have the sun out.
Oh, I know. We've been trying to avoid that.
We're getting all these breaks in the clouds right now, and we still have more to come later today. But the good news is it looks like the majority of the severe weather will be with this initial band. We can't rule out, though, a stronger storm this afternoon as we get things going. Because if you look at the overall picture, the big zoomed out picture, you can see Nicole now is to the northeast of Atlanta and heading towards our mountains. That's where the center of circulation is, right in this vicinity here. Basically just turning into an area of low pressure, but that's going to be moving up over the mountains. It's these feeder bands that we see coming in off the ocean. You see this secondary one? Quaylen, this is interesting. So we had the one band, but look at this one here that's coming up. So that'll be moving into Wilmington right here fairly soon, and then lifting up potentially right across us as we get into the afternoon, or at least the 95 corridor. But a lot of dry time between now and the showers that'll come in this evening. So predictor has this line moving through. There's that secondary one along the 95 corridor, 3 in the afternoon. And then as we get to the evening, we could see some more coming into the region. So we've really got a little ways to go here with the action. But if you're just joining us, again, there is an active tornado warning. It is north now, out of the area of Wake Forest. Matter of fact, it's even north, all the way north, closer to, well, I wouldn't say Kittrell just yet. But
almost.
It's Franklinton. Yeah, that's kind of where we're seeing it right now. We'll get a new image in. It's probably over Franklinton now, and moving up Highway 1. Fairly good pace, capital.
That's right. Based off of the latest scans, we are looking at impacts around Kittrell, potentially around 11:15, around Watkins at 11:21. Let's just go ahead and move forward on this and head into your safe places now.
It was located over Franklinton.
Let's see. It's still Doppler indicated. So what we have right now is just updated information from the Weather Service. We're still continuing with the warning until 11:30. So once again, if you are in areas of West Franklin County, Southern Vance County, we want you to go ahead and move to your safe places now. Kittrell, let's go ahead and advance. Let's get there. Those of you in Henderson, we want you to get into your safe places too. And in Williamsboro, safe places as well. The issue here is that we have movement at 30 miles per hour. Again, our scans, unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time with the technology and with the movement. This is quicker, so we want you to react more quickly as well and get into your safe places now. Heavy rainfall, of course, is a concern, but it's the winds within the rotation that we have potential to see. And based off of our latest Doppler scan, a radar scan, we're seeing winds at around 60 miles per hour. That's enough to do some damage, of course. And so 60 miles per hour with a storm or an area of a rotation that's moving at 30 miles per hour. So definitely concerning here. So let's go ahead and not play around with this and move into into our safe places. Thankfully, in the past several hours where we've had the warnings, we haven't had any reports, as far as we know, of any tornado sightings. These have all been radar indicated, but we want to be safe in this instance. We've also had some power outages as well throughout the morning. Some of you or some of your friends may still be without power as well, with the squall line passing through. So that's certainly a possibility with this batch of rain and squally conditions passing through south of Franklinton. Still waiting on that latest scan to come in. That should be coming out very shortly. But once again, if you're just joining us, we are on with you because we have another tornado warning with the same squall line we've been tracking since early this morning. It has held together, and at certain points in the squall, we've seen enough rotation with the upper level support, certainly to help bring some of those that rotation to the ground in some spots potentially. So we do have radar indicated tornadoes here, and that's what the warnings are issued for. Seeing a little bit of lightning now showing up just west of Kittrell. So once again, if you're in Kittrell, an indication here that this may be getting a little bit stronger. So we want you to head into your safe places now. If you're in Franklinton, we still have some heavier rainfall around. This is right along Highway 1, and this will be tracking to the north and east. We want to check out the latest information. I'm going to remove this track here and put a latest track on, and I'll account for what's likely the movement of this system at this point. So north at 30 miles per hour, pulling this track out here to 30. It takes us into Kittrell at 11:10. So once again, it's a little bit faster. Kittrell, that's why we want you to get into your safe places now in Henderson and Williamsboro, too. So you're seeing there, Steve, that looks like some pretty decent rotation there on storm relative velocity.
Yeah, hoping to get the new scan here in a second, but you're right. So it's north of Franklinton right now. So we can put our live radar on just to get a feel, because it's at the tail end of this batch of heavy rain. So it'd probably be just north of Franklinton at this point in time. And if you just look at the movement, I mean, it's almost essentially moving right up Capitol. So you're right. So right up 1, it'd be headed towards Kittrell, and we'll see if that does indeed hold together, waiting for that newest scan. So as I typically do when we have one warning out and we're looking for that, we'll try and look for rotation somewhere else. And there does seem to be signs of another little couplet trying to form over here south of Centerville. We loop that and you see, oh, there's just a little bit of green and red there, but you put the radar on, you can see that's at the leading edge here of some heavier downpours. So we'll be watching to see if we see any rotation elsewhere. Nothing that alerts us right now along this line, but we do have this active warning. And again, it's basically just north of Franklinton now and moving at a really good pace. So as we go ahead and we clear this out and see if I get a new scan in, I believe this is a new scan. Quayla, let me go back one and just see.
That is a new scan. Yeah, indeed it is.
So it's north, yeah, and it looks, I mean, there's still, it's broad. So it's elongating. It's not a really tight couplet at this point in time. So anytime they start elongating like that, that's a good sign. Doesn't mean we're in the clear just yet. But like we said, these have a tendency to really ramp up quickly and then come down fairly quickly as well. But that doesn't mean you can't do damage. It takes a few seconds.
Yep.
You have one come down, and if it's unfortunate where it's around a house or a neighborhood, it does its damage, and then it ramps back down. So looking at it now, Quaylen's right, though. If you live anywhere along there between Franklinton and Kittrell, along Capitol there, either side of Capitol, just be safe and get to your safe space until this completely dissipates.
Those of you around Kittrell Road, safe places now. If you're familiar with St. Mary AME Church, it looks like the best rotation is just off to the west. Again, this is tracking north and east, inner Franklin. And it has come down in terms of the winds. So last scan, we had some of our winds. It looked like this rotation had winds of around 60 miles per hour. You can see a big breakdown here, roughly 40 miles per hour. So let's hope that this will continue to wind down in terms of its intensity over the next scan that we'll see probably in the next 5 minutes or so. But with this comes that heavy rainfall, and that's what we're seeing now. Again, we have to change our radar pictures so quickly just because of how quickly this cell is moving. So now the heaviest rain still looks to be around Highway 1. Once again, there's a newest scan coming out now. So still looking at those impacts right around Highway 1. locally heavy rainfall. And that's just to the north now of Franklin 10, still right over Highway 1. And let's go back to our storm relative velocity here. This, once again, just shows us where that best rotation shows up, where the greens and reds are butting up against each other. And let's take a look at the latest winds here. So still roughly 40, 45 miles per hour on the strength and intensity with the winds.
I hate to do this.
Yeah.
But like we said, a lot of times when there's one warning, we want to make sure we look somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. I
right
see where you're going.
Over towards Centerville. Yep.
Ah.
There. So if Franklin County. So if we come down here, and I just want to show you this latest scan that we were happy. The other one is ramping down. Well, we could have another one here that's ramping the other direction.
Right.
So in and around Centerville, and this now is about 2 minutes old. So it's probably up here somewhere north of Centerville. Oh, shoot. Up here somewhere north of Centerville. If indeed this is another one we have to be concerned about, but that's a tight little couplet. That's all it takes. And the winds with this one, I think on either side of this is got to be like 30 and 40 potentially. So yeah, we're definitely looking at the potential here. This is a tail end of this heavy line that's moving in now. So maybe a little notch, an inflow notch there too. So let me put my radar on, which is a little bit quicker. So it's probably lifting farther north already. So this is that line, and all along it now, there is that potential we can see some sort of rotation. You see another little line trying to develop here in parts of Wake County too. Let me go back and just show how that's been developed from nothing, and all of a sudden we've got a heavy downpour that's going to be heading into Cary pretty soon. That one's not rotating or anything like that, but just to mention that we have a little sun, and that we could see some more of these start to develop here in the next 10 to 20 minutes.
And we've also been talking about just the energy that's available to us in the atmosphere. Our models and our analysis of those have been showing how we're looking at better energy tracking more to the east, right along I-95, near I-95, and certainly pushing east. So we're seeing that still with the tail end of this line, with the sunshine we said we didn't want to see in addition to that.
November, and dew point was it's a 77.
77 in Clayton.
Yeah, so to have this much moisture.
Or Clinton.
It was in
in
Clinton, right, yeah. But most of us, 70 dew points, something you would have in the middle of summer, right? So there's ample moisture to see these thunderstorms develop. Some of the cloud tops are flirting with 40,000 feet, which is very impressive for, again, November, although this is our second severe season. Just keep that in mind. But still, we're waiting for the newest scan. Let's see if it has come in yet. I'm going to click on that. Still the same scan, so we'll probably get a new one here shortly. I want that one near Centerville to ramp back down quickly. We'll see if it does indeed happen.
Let's go back and visit where the warning is currently still in place, and it's still right around Kittrell. As Steve mentioned, we're still waiting on that latest scan to come in. So those of you in Kittrell should indeed be into your safe places right now. We just need you to get there until we can get updated information. In the meantime, if you're in Henderson, let's go ahead and roll into your safe place too. Most interior portion of your home, closet, bathroom, as once again, we have a quick moving cell here, roughly 30 miles per hour. It's quick enough. There's that latest scan that has just come in, Steve.
Good, okay.
Still keeping it near Kittrell for the most part, but Henderson, it's moving on your doorstep, and we still have some lightning around as well. So still intensity to the rain, intensity to the winds, and although a tornado has not been confirmed, this is Doppler indicated, so certainly a concern at this point. We can do another storm track based off of our latest scan, and the movement here roughly north at 30 miles per hour. So let's take it to the north. We'll take it from around just south of Henderson, just because we're seeing that movement so quickly, and it takes a little bit of time when we have the lag time with the scan. So in Henderson, 11:20, it looks like the latest timing for you. Williamsboro closer to 11:33, and at this point the warning is set to expire at 11:30, but we will have to see, of course, if this couplet can maintain itself, if there's enough energy to support that, or will it begin to wind down. Heavy rainfall, of course, a concern in some places. There's that new warning just to the east. This is the one for the Centerville couplet we were tracking, and now the Weather Service has issued a tornado warning. So that's set to go until 11:45. And Steve, you are back in lower on this one.
Right, exactly. All right. So yeah, that couplet, we were worried about that, and sure enough. So here we go. In Franklin and Warren counties, till about 11:45, but don't be surprised if it expires sooner. But let me go ahead and show you the scan is still a little bit old. That is a really good couplet, but if I show our our radar on there, it's already north of Centerville. So it's likely, if there is a tornado, it's likely going to be in this vicinity here. So let me zoom in really fast and see if we can't find any roads. There's not much. I believe it's Vaden Road and Shulas Road. These are areas here to be under the watch very closely because it's already north of Centerville. And as soon as I get that newest scan in, we'll be able to see where this couplet goes. Does it strengthen? Does it hold its intensity? Or potentially is it going to be weakening? And we're really hoping for the weakening. But since this just ramped up, it's likely going to be ramped up once we get north of Centerville here. But that's why when they're moving so quick, we have to show our live radar, which, by the way, doesn't really do velocities. So we have to go back to the National Weather Service radar to do the velocities, which in many cases can be about a 5-minute lag. And that 5 minutes, when you're moving at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, is a big distance. So it makes it a little bit challenging. So not seeing the new scan just yet, but we have 2 warnings currently. And the other one, Quaylen, does it look like, if you looked at the Kittrell one, is that one getting weaker?
It is. Let's go back to the velocity here. And sorry about all this movement. Again, when you're transitioning into frames so quickly, the radar, your last frame is behind. So I want to try to get back to that. So,
we have the new scan in.
Good, new scan, and I'm going to take off the old data and refresh now, and let's add some new wind data. And this still looks to be around 40 miles. Oh, actually, this is a little bit stronger, Steve. So this is around 50 miles per hour now.
Okay.
So it's ramping up a little bit more. It looks like the best rotation is south of Kittrell in terms of where the strongest part of this band is. So the rotation in the couplet. So this is what we're watching right along US 1. So once again, here we are with that. So based off of what we're seeing here, and it kind of looks like, I want to take this back here on the movement. Looks like it's a little bit more northeast as opposed to north. So based off of that, I want to take the storm track out more to the northeast, and I want to advance the track because, once again, we have to account for the lag on the radar scan. So I want to pull it a little bit more just to the east of Kittrell and take it northeast at 30 miles per hour, and still don't have enough room because of the movement. Let me back this up again. And we'll take it out. So again, we're starting from around US 1 near Kittrell and taking this track out. And that will take it into North Henderson and at around 11:30. So still around 15 minutes until this reaches North Henderson, if it can manage to hold together. Middleburg near 11:41, and then into Norlina closer to noon today. So
if it holds.
If it holds.
But that could intersect with this one.
Yes.
So the one north of Centerville now, it could be in Marmaduke here by 11:33. Macon, is it going to make it that far? Probably not, but if it does, about 11:47. So I just want to mention again, as I get closer, this was that newest scan. So north of Centerville once again. So I like to put our radar on just to get a feel for where we think the potential is, maybe in this little notch right here. But a decent little signature still. That's not the tightest of couplets or the one that really is impressive, but it's enough. It is definitely enough to warrant that warning. If you look at the last scan, which was just when it was starting to ramp up here from Centerville, so it went basically right over Centerville. And now it's on the county line there, and that's going to continue moving to the north at a good 30 plus miles an hour. These are moving really quickly, so we'll see how that holds together and lifts off to the north. And again, as far as the shear tracks, every single one of these, see, now we have shear tracks for this one. So 5 times today we've had some shear tracks, and 4 of them have seen warnings out of it.
That's pretty good. I would bet on that.
Right. That's for our internal thinking
Yeah.
here. When we see that track, that's important. Yeah.
So we've been talking about the break we're going to see later today. We're still just waiting on this squall line to get out of here. So let's just advance our predictor forecast through the afternoon hours so you can see what's coming our way. So this squall line moves out. We'll still have some showers and storms developing through early afternoon. And I still want you to be on guard. Although it seems like things will get a little lighter for us, we still have that sunshine. We still have instability. So we'll still have to watch for some of these isolated cells to potentially become tornadic at times. But then we'll have another round of more organized storm potential into the evening, so towards 7 o'clock. And this associated with the cold front and also the center of the circulation for Nicole, which which is not going to track right over us, but it's going to track more to the north and east. So we'll still have more showers and storms later on tonight. Once again, we are still joining you right now because we have 2 tornado warnings. One continues for Franklin County into Vance. It's actually into Franklin and Vance at this point, and then the other just to the east of that. And that includes portions of Halifax County and also into the eastern portions of Franklin County as well. We want to take a closer look at the warnings. So the one that's in place right now for Henderson and includes Lewisburg, this continues until 11:30. Although Lewisburg, I'm really not impressed with what I'm seeing near you. So it looks like you just have some showers around, but it's really around Henderson where we have the best rotation beginning to approach. Okay, so those of you in Kittrell and Henderson still seeing those impacts right along Highway 158, and this moving to the northeast, roughly 30 miles per hour. And then secondly, we have another warning just off to the east. This includes Macon. So this is into areas just off to the east, south of I-85. Warrenton, you're included in the warning as well. And just north of Centerville. So now Centerville, as Steve mentioned, because the best rotation has moved north of you, you are no longer under that tornado warning for the time being. So the concern is that we have quick moving storms, things cycle up and cycle back down rather quickly. And so your response time has to be quick and in terms of this situation here. I want to take another look at the velocity, because things have changed as we've seen more of our updates here. And so we're still seeing the best rotation now south of Kittrell near Bobbitt. If you are in Bobbitt, we want you to get into your safe places now. Still radar indicated at this point, so no ground truth, which is great. However, we're going to err on the side of caution and continue to keep you alert and aware. Your first alert to this potential for rotation. And we can track this to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. So still taking it out, I think, generally north and east of Henderson. So here we go on that track here. And this will take it into Gill around 11:25. Portions of Henderson, whether you're in north or south Henderson, you could see impacts towards 11:30. So again, into Norlina, roughly 12 o'clock if it holds together. It's a pretty decent rotation. And then north of Centerville, still watching that couplet there too.
That is right, yeah. And so we knew it was going to be pretty active between 8 o'clock in the morning and noon. And so far, that's just really playing out. If we could go over to Weather One, what I want to show you is just this broad perspective of the high-resolution rapid refresh model, which does a pretty good job. It updates about every hour. It initializes off of the radar, and it shows these feeder bands coming in off the ocean and continues up the 95 corridor between now and, say, around 3, but it's a little bit farther to the east, which could be out of our viewing area. But you see that lull in the action. There could be a few spotty showers, but you see the main circulation out over towards the mountains. That is going to push in out ahead of it. We could get another batch as we get into 7 this evening, right across the triangle. So that's something we'll keep an eye on. If that indeed potentially could be severe, at that point in time, we will not be under a watch, we don't think, but still some heavy rain potential. And then it moves out, and then we see a marked improvement. But my goodness, it's you could see the rotation near Atlanta lifting off to the northeast, and these bands coming in off the ocean. We'll be watching for that. There's one just south of Wilmington that's going to move right up the 95 corridor here pretty soon. And when we look at the visible shot, we had breaks of sunshine out there, and that doesn't really help. That makes it a little bit more unstable. With dew points in the 70s and air temperatures, I even checked, we're probably upwards, in the upper 70s or mid to upper 70s already. All right, so let's go back and then show you the latest. In case you're just tuning in, we still have that tornado watch in effect, basically for the entire viewing area in central North Carolina. And we have 2 warnings currently active. These are the 2, and they're moving at a fairly good pace right now. Is one of them canceled? The Franklin? Oh, that's,
yes,
okay.
So they just cut out. So Franklin was in the warning. Now it's just Vance and Warren.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And so let me come down and check out the latest couplet here. This still looks like it's a little bit old, so we'll see that new one coming in. So again, it's probably, let me look at our radar.
More lightning around that tornado warning
so it's likely all the way up in this vicinity here, and lifting off to the north, heading towards Norlina or Macon. It could be there at this rate, probably within the next 20 to 30 minutes or so, because it is moving so quickly. And And it's look at that, this line trails all the way. And sometimes we get some minor flooding concerns when we have training events. So if this is moving south to north,
right,
the same area gets rain and don't get a break. And then on either side of that, you're completely dry. So you get these streaks of, 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches. And outside of that, you get like a 1/4 inch of rain.
And it doesn't take much. And we're actually seeing more rain and I think more of that training concern with the tornado warning and the storm that's north of Centerville, because there's still more moisture to the south. If you can see how that's lining up, back down into Franklin County, we still have more moisture coming in from Johnston County and Harnett counties. So again, this is going to continue to roll over into Warren County. So that's the one I think we'll have to keep an eye on for potential minor flash flooding issues. The one near Henderson and Townsville, this is tracking north, but once this cell tracks out of Townsville, it's moving into Mecklenburg County. So those of you in Mecklenburg County, heads up for you. You have to keep an eye on this one with us too, because this one is moving to the north at 30 miles per hour.
Yeah, new scan came in just about a minute ago.
Okay.
So yeah, we are seeing the one north of Centerville. Still a decent couplet look in there, and it looks a little bit more broad, the one between Kittrell and Henderson, but still enough to keep the warning going right now. But definitely, let me get a little bit closer here and see if I can't find some roads and some cross streets. The P. Harris Road, Davis Bug Road, there's Highway 58. So if your intersection around there, and where it's heading at this pace, so there's the couplet, right? Okay, so it's going to be heading north. So it could be close to Marmaduke. It might be just there to the west of Marmaduke. But be it advised and maybe go ahead and get in your safe space now, because it could be there within the next 5 minutes at this pace, because it is moving at a very fast pace. And eventually, if it does hold together, now we're talking about Warrenton, Macon, around Highway 158. Norlina might be, but it's probably going to be just to the east of Norlina, because this is moving due to the north right now. But you can see where that couplet is. So this is going to be lifting straight up like this in the next 5 to 10 minutes. That's how fast it's going to be moving up there. So Littleton, likely you're going to be in the clear here, but just stay abreast of the situation. And Norlina as well, even though it's probably going to shoot the gap right between there, go over 158. You still looking at the other one?
I'm looking at rainfall rates now, because I'm interested, Steve, in what we're seeing in terms of potential rainfall totals. So the rainfall rates for the tornado warning for Warren County, they're shaking out between 1 and 2 inches per hour. And once again, that's the storm that concerns us, because we're seeing some of that heavy rainfall. If you're wondering what those early arrows you're seeing there, just begins to tell us that there are early signs of rotation showing up. So that's one of the tools we have on our first alert Doppler, is that we can see where rotation might be picking up, and the radar is picking up on that. So of course we have already warned you about that. Let me take those off, because I don't want them to be a distraction to you. I want us to focus here on the, those are our storm tracks. I want you to focus on the rainfall rate. So we're talking 1 to 2 inches per hour. Remember, we were looking at rainfall, unfortunately, that could train over the same spots. And already around Warrenton, we're seeing some locally heavy rainfall. We can check out this here, query this rainfall. So already in the last, 10 to 15 minutes, we've seen about 1.5 inches of rain. So that happened rather quickly. And that's just the beginning, because if we continue to see rainfall rolling over the same spots, which is the indication here as we look at first alert Doppler, again, widening the picture out, you can see that there's more rainfall here south of this tornado warning. There's more rain coming in from Franklin County. So this will continue tracking to the north. Those of you around Henderson, I think once this cell pushes north of you, then your rainfall cuts off, at least for a short time. So you'll get a bit of a break. But then into Mecklenburg County, we're tracking both of these for you, because they're both running parallel to each other essentially. So they're going to be moving to the north. So we'll have to look for areas around, Clarksville and South Hill, maybe some impacts for you too, as we look at the latest motion. But the lightning is still developing around these cells, Steve.
Yeah, it doesn't want to weaken. It's just the last couple of frames here. We're getting some more lightning, so definitely not calming down by any stretch. But a decent couplet again, as I just said, and we were looking at those shear tracks, so they're continuing. So I think that this is likely going to hold together. They might not keep this one going. So Vance.
Yeah, good news.
Vance County, they're expiring.
Okay, so that's for those of you in Henderson. You can come out of your safe places now. We still have some gusty winds, some heavy rain, but you can come out of your safe places now. Our focus will be on the warning that's over Warren County. And this warning has actually been reduced, the polygon, because now the aerial coverage or the potential for the impacts has shrunk as well. So that's near Macon.
It is, right. And if I put on our radar, it's right there. So likely, if there is some rotation, it might be. I've noticed a little notch here. If I go back in time, and I'll pick it out there. So a little bit of a notch there. And then we go forward a frame. You still see that? Little, like right in this vicinity. So what does that mean? What does that mean when we talk about a notch? It basically just envision strong winds coming this way and then coming in this way. So sometimes you can get what we look for little notches like that. So that is a possibility. That's what we're seeing right now with that particular radar. Still waiting for this latest scan. This is old, so it's probably already up to this point now. Is this moving at 30? It's still moving at 30 miles an hour. So at this line, it's if it holds together, it's making a beeline, if you will, towards Macon. So between Macon, okay, there's Marmaduke, and likely going to scoot really close to Marmaduke. So if you live on I would say the western fringes of Marmaduke or over by Liberia, keep a lookout. It's going to be really close to you. Warrenton, Embro Road and Macon Embro Road, these are areas that you want to be looking out for, because as we get up here, there's Macon, right? So it's small town, but nonetheless, that's kind of the direction it's going, which is right on Highway 158 there. So if it holds together, it'll be there before you know it, if indeed this couplet holds. So we'll get another scan here pretty quickly, but I like to put our live radar on just to give you a feel for how close it is. So that is a little bit farther above where the couplet is. So definitely, Quayle, this is holding together better than the other ones.
That's what I was going to say. Better than the previous warned storms or warned couplets. We're definitely seeing better energy with this one, and also more rainfall potential with this one too, and even some of those gustier winds that potential holds on as well. Moving to the north, so areas near east of Norlina. That's where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall at this point. And what you're looking at here is the rainfall rate. So where those purple shades are showing up, and even the but it's possible that some areas could accumulate that 2.5 inches because of the training that we're seeing just to the east of Warrenton. So if you're along Highway 158 east of Warrenton, between Warrenton and Macon, this is where we could have some potential issues on the roads with some minor flooding developing. Definitely some ponding on the roads that would be a concern as well with that heavy rainfall rate developing. Again, we're still with you this afternoon. You see two polygons here. One, we're on Henderson for the tornado warning. That one has, and there it is, it's dropped out finally out of the system. So we just have one warning remaining at this point, and that is over Warren County, including Warrenton and including Macon, and right along Highway 151. This is where we have some of the heaviest rainfall developing, and the training concerns, and of course the concerns for some of those winds. I haven't taken a look at velocity. Oh, Steve, you have it right up, so you're thinking.
Yeah, over on Weather One, I got it right there for you, yeah. So we're about 60 miles in for us. That new scan is what I mean. So so it's closer. There's Macon. So again, it's moving basically due north. And we can just actually back it up and just show you where it holds together right there. So it's moving to the north and maybe just a little bit to the northeast, but ramping up. When we see more lightning, that's an indication that the storm could be strengthening. So if you live around Macon, let's go ahead and get in that safe place right now. There's Highway 158, and it's going to be moving right over Harristown Road, Theo Robertson Road, Davis Dead End Road.
Oh, no.
That's not. Hopefully, that doesn't mean anything. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's the direction that it's going, and doing a little bit better as far as the time. It's been. the warning is a lot of times these ramp down quickly. This is not the case with this one. So if you have a 2-story home, you want to make sure you get out of that second story, get downstairs. So if you live in Macon, downstairs, get to the center of your house. You want to put as many walls between you and outside as you possibly can. And in the world we live in, a lot of people like to go run outside and use their cameras, because everyone's got a camera now with your phone, right? And that can be very dangerous, because when we have a tornado, we get debris flying. And that's what hurts you. That's what can really do the pain to you. So get in the house and wait for it to pass on by.
That's right. We're still looking at the heavy rainfall, still looking at updates, still looking at more lightning. I hate to see this for this one band that we're watching here south of Macon. More lightning developing right here, just to the south. So watching that closely. It looks like another scan just came in too, Steve. So I want to check that out. But still right along Highway 158 is where we have the concerns. Time is 11:32. This warning goes into 11:45, so we still have another 13 minutes or so on the warning. And this is going to be moving north. It's moving north at 30 miles per hour, still impacting the same areas. Unfortunately, with that rainfall, that's the case. I think for the next at least 20 minutes, we have to get this to move north out of Warren County, and it's going to be heading into Mecklenburg County. If it holds, there's going to at least be some heavy rainfall for portions of Mecklenburg County this afternoon. That's at least. And then, of course, we'll be monitoring it for potential gustier winds to develop in spots, too. But that's the latest on that. All other locations, we're looking pretty quiet. A wide look at the first alert Doppler picture, and we do have some spotty rainfall still developing near I-95 back to the west, so into Johnston County, and also seeing some showers developing over Sampson County. These are locations that saw a break for a short time, but once again, we have sunshine, plenty of moisture, ample moisture with Nicole, so not limited on that by any means. And then we're seeing more activity developing west of Greensboro. But the main concern right now is the squall line. That's what's left of it, the initial squall line just to the west of I-95. And that's going to be moving in. We just got an update in from the Weather Service for the warning. It continues until 11:45. So this is still in place. It looks like we continue to shrink, though, that polygon box. We can look at that again. And that's because, once again, the impact locations, we can hone more in on those. So still over Macon, still the impacts for you, still right along Highway 151. If you're in Norlina, you're fine. You have heavy rain and the lightning. Maybe you hear the distant thunder, but you don't have any concerns as far as tornadic potential goes for you. And Littleton, you're high and dry, so just fine. This is tracking to the north. So those of you in Macon, this is still where we have the heavy rain, still the threat for an isolated tornado. Let's go ahead now and move it to our safe places. If you know anyone traveling Highway 158 between, let's say, Norlina and Macon, maybe give them a call if they're unaware. Hopefully their phone has gone off for them and they've been able to find a safe place, but it's always good to try to find a safe place to get to while you still have some time. So let's do that, and let's be careful out here. Heavy rainfall continues. With that scan that has come in, I need to probably look and see if we have
It's not a new one yet.
Oh, it's not a new one.
Still
Good.
waiting.
Okay,
It's
good.
It's probably going to be really close to Highway 158 when it does come in.
Yeah.
So we'll be patient with that one, but we're hoping that it does ramp down a little bit. It's not as symmetrical as the last one, so it's starting a little bit elongated with a couple it is. So if that trend continues, then they'll allow this to expire. But if it stays like this or tightens, then we'll continue with this warning. But yeah, it's probably somewhere between Norlina and Littleton, right around Highway 158, if you go by the speed that it's been going. So we're going to see the potential with this new scan coming in. Anything else going on? I'm not seeing anything else as far as other rain bands that we need to be concerned about.
No, I think we still have some gusty winds, though, around Henderson. Again, this is Vance County where that warning was allowed to expire, but I think we have some gusty winds still there. Remember, you're not under a warning, but you may be experiencing that, so don't be alarmed. Heavy rainfall still continues for you, and not seeing any other areas that concern us at this point for rotation, which is good. We get a little bit of a break for the time being, but we're not letting our guards down today. Remember, the watch is still in place until 3 o'clock, and the watch basically says conditions are favorable, watch out, we could have a warning. And in fact, we have had several warnings.
Quite 5 now?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 or 5, I think. Yeah, so it has been very busy, and it's not out of the ordinary when you're dealing with the right-hand side of a tropical system.
Right.
So we always have extra rotation. We always have that potential to see a brief spin up, which we've had numerous of those today. But this one's holding on a little bit longer. In the latest scan, when it comes in, we'll see how we feel about that. But like I said, it's going to be really close to Macon. Hopefully, if you're in the Macon area or either side of Highway 158 near Macon, that you're in your safe space, just wait for this thing to move on by. It is really, these are all moving very quickly.
Very quickly. And this just speaks to also tropical systems in general. That's why we don't downplay if something is a tropical storm or a depression. A lot of times people want to say, oh, it's just a.
Right.
Or it's just
right.
we have just a depression.
And Category 1
right.
that hits Florida, look what it did to the beaches.
That's right.
I mean, the houses are falling in.
And starting off as a subtropical system.
Yeah.
So we still have to respect everything that is tropical because the impacts come our way. And with a weakening system, we still are dealing with the tornado impact. So once again, we have the warning still in place for Warren, including Warren County. And this is
There's the new scan.
Okay, there's the latest scan that has come out. We're going to check that velocity. Oh, more lightning, too.
Yeah, and it's right around 158 now, like we said. We'll go ahead and take a peek. It's elongated. Mm-hmm. It's weaker. These are good signs and not surprising at all, but it's still enough holding together. So we'll see with the National Weather Service. They'll probably likely let this, it's only for about another 8 minutes, so they'll probably just let this go all the way out. And then after that final scan, we'll see. But if, again, like we said, between Vaughn and Macon, if you live in these areas, that's where the rotation is likely at, right around Highway 158. Mm-hmm. So stay in that safe space for a little bit longer. So this is pretty much where it is, probably likely going to be moving over 158 within the next minute or so.
Some streets for you here.
Good.
Oak Road, Beef Tongue Road. Those of you around Macon Embro Road and Old Macon Highway, this is where we're seeing the best rotation, where Steve was showing us those reds and greens really close together. Still some pretty strong winds that we're seeing at this point. However, we do hope to see this to continue to cycle down. But if you're around Old Macon Highway, Oak Road, Macon Embro Road, Beef Tongue Road, you should be in your safe places now, even near Church Hill Road. Let's go ahead and move into our safe places at this point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Be safe. It's the whole reason that we do these things for you. So once this couplet moves over, I'd be willing to bet this the next scan it's going to be a lot weaker, which we're hoping for. But look how fast this is. Let me go ahead and show you the how long we've been seeing some shear here. So all the way started down here near Castalia. That's where the shear really started, and then it lifted all the way up quickly. And this was another one that was worn. This one was down near Garner.
Wow, that's
right?
the one. Yeah, we were watching that one earlier.
We were watching that, and it didn't get worn until it got all the way up towards Wake Forest, and it ramped up, and now that one's ramped down. So it's been a really impressive active day. We knew there'd be some, but we weren't sure there'd be, 5.
And of course, we're a part of this community. So as soon as I said Kim, we see some of the best rotation.
Yeah, she's sitting right back here just looking at data herself.
Kim
Dean
is
like,
here.
hey, that's my house.
That's my house. And so, the call was to home to say, hey, I need you to do what you need to do to be safe. And so, once again, we're tracking this, but also mindful that we have families too, and that we're monitoring the situation, not only for you, but of course to keep all of us safe. That's really the bottom line here. And that's why we're still with you right now. It's 11:40. The warning goes until 11:45 on this couplet we've been watching. And I'm happy to see also that the rainfall has broken up too. So the rain that was once training into the Macon area, we're now seeing less of that. So you'll catch a bit of a break. So if you have some areas that have picked up a little bit more rain and caused some minor flooding, there will be time for that water to recede. More showers, though, showing up just off to the west. We could still have some issues around 401. That's where we're seeing a little bit more of that heavy rainfall too. And just waiting on the latest update of the scan to come in on the radar, and this will help to tell us or show us likely that this has moved past Highway 158 and to the north, hopefully pushing away from Macon. But there's still some lightning around, and if you're in Macon and you hear thunder, that means it's still a good time to stay indoors in your safe place until that thunder and that storm moves and comes to an end for you.
And like you mentioned, sometimes when you just look at a radar, like if I take everything off of this and you see that, you would be like, if you just looked at this, you'd be like, oh, it's just raining. Look at.
Right.
But what you can't see, what the radar can see, is the winds.
That's right.
And the wind direction and the wind speed. So we know that there's a rotation in there, and a lot of times it doesn't have to have this incredibly heavy downpour to have a damaging storm.
And sometimes you don't even have lightning.
Right, absolutely. A lot of times in tropical systems, there's no lightning at all. We've had quite a bit, quite a bit of lightning today.
Different story today.
See if that new scan hasn't come in yet, but still we'll wait for that. But the idea is, if history shows anything about this, these ramp up quick and ramp down quickly. This one's been a little slow to do so, but the odds are, if we were just playing putting our cards on the table, this is going to ramp down, which is what we'd like to see.
Certainly what we would like to see. Some of you elsewhere are seeing a little sunshine and enjoying some drier conditions for now. That will change later today, so enjoy the break while it is here for you. Others will see some showers developing, like there are more showers around Sampson County and Cumberland too. None of those are severe at this point, no concerns there, but we'll be keeping a tab on those throughout the afternoon hours. And of course, ultimately, the next batch will come in out to the west. Speaking of out west, heavy rainfall. Look at that. The green polygons here near Asheville, that's heavy rainfall. Let's go to our composite satellite here.
I got it pulled up.
Oh, you already got.
Weather
Steve,
one.
are you in my brain?
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, so you can see there's some heavier bands heading into Columbia now, and that's going to be lifting up into Charlotte, and all that, folks, is going to be lifting just off to our east. So we do have a ways to go. We have a lot of dry time between rounds, but we have another round to come, but likely not going to be as severe as what we've had so far for this morning.
That is true. We're still waiting with you right now until the warning is either canceled or expired, and we just have a couple more minutes on this. So hopefully we will actually see it expire, and we're waiting on the next scan here to come in too, because it still looks like we're looking at the older scan with the best rotation in the couplet near 158, and by this time it's probably north of 158. So we will await that and still look at the impacts. Let's see, the warning has expired, so that is good news. So again, big picture for us. We're still getting moisture in from Nicole, still from the feeder bands, but you can see a lot of that activity is beginning to shift to our east. We'll have a break for a time. Circulation for Nicole is still rounding out of Georgia into South Carolina. We still have a tornado watch until 3 o'clock. So right now we're going to send you back to regular programming, but of course we're tracking this throughout the morning and afternoon.
We're not going anywhere.
That's right, basically. So we send you back to programming now.
This has been your first alert from ABC 11 Eyewitness News. We now